There she is, the original American Idol. 24 minutes from now, it'll be 9 o'clock. We told you a weekly chat with Barrett Insurance's Mike Barrett. It has been part of our morning broadcast, Mike, for, what are we at, 5, 6, 7 years now?
It's got to be. It's got to be, yeah, about that time.
So what we do is we talk about how you can get the most important thing out of your insurance agent, and that is communications.
Hey.
But leading into this, Mike, it is a big deal. We had a chat with this with one of your partners in the Northeast Kingdom Cancer Action Network Thursday last week, Wes Ward.
Yes.
We heard about an amazing fundraising event for the organization in memory of an amazing woman. Let's talk about that for just a minute or so.
Yeah, we had the absolute honor and pleasure of going and being there. It was for Melinda Miller, and it was a memorial hockey tournament that they did at the Fenton Chester Ice Arena a couple of Saturdays ago. And her sister, Melissa, who's also on our board, had mentioned that they were doing it, and she also mentioned that she found out that it was the first annual. Well, what does it mean when it's the first annual? That means there'll hopefully be a second, third, fourth, and fifth annual as well. So it just tells you the impact, which we all knew. If anyone who knew Melinda is thinking about it right now, what I'm about to say does not surprise you. She made an incredible impact on the community in which she lived and served, and she was just so gracious in everything she did, and she's dearly missed. But that tournament, we were told as the Northeast Kingdom Cancer Action Network that the monies raised from the tournament would be going to us, which was awesome. That just meant so much to us. So a couple of Greg Lapine, who's a board member of ours, and myself and my son, and I know Greg's daughter was there because I was picking on her about her new car. We all went up to do a check presentation on the center ice between one of the games. And at the time, and we have this big, huge dry erase check that we bought for EDK Can, so I brought it with me. We're filling it out, and I'm like, you guys have to fill it out. I have horrible penmanship. Fill it out. They filled it out. It had a value of $6,800 that they had raised to go to EDK Can. So here we are on the ice. Seconds before we go on the ice, we realized that value was wrong. It was now $7,800. So we knew things were still coming in fast and furious. And well over $10,000 raised through that event. And we're absolutely flabbergasted. And I know Melinda is just dancing about that right now. And I know Melissa is dancing, and so am I. So a huge thank you. It was a wonderful thing to watch. Melinda had a nephew, a very young nephew, who got on the ice, and they gave him, I mean, he can't be any older than 7 or 8 maybe. And he was all geared up and made a couple of goals. And that was fun to watch, too. So it was a great family event, good support, good food, great raffle items. And we'd thank them dearly for supporting EDK Can.
Well, the kingdom is still thanking Melinda, and, of course, the legacy that Melissa's carrying on for that. That's awesome news.
Amazing. All right. Chills is what I got. So.
Yeah. Let's go back to last week. We talked about scheduling, and I learn from you every time we have a chat. And we talked about what you should absolutely schedule for coverage on your insurance. Let's do a recap.
Yeah, so we did kind of a high-level overview last week because people may be buying some fun things with their tax refunds that are coming. And things to think about, how can you better protect your personal property under your homeowner policy? And I think personal property gets kind of second fiddle to the dwelling, right? Because it's the dwelling that you're buying the homeowner policy for. If you're buying it for a house, obviously renters are thinking about their personal property, but you want to think about what is your personal property. What do you have? We talked about the smarter and smarter components of refrigerators and washers and dryers, and how maybe a Form 5 homeowner policy, write that down, ask your agent if that would make more sense for you or not. But then if we're talking about specific types of items, it's really a worthwhile thing to go and schedule these particular items. And what does that mean? It means you are going to provide everything about a certain piece of personal property. Now, certain things are able to be scheduled. Jewelry, you can schedule computers with many companies. Let's think about those at Kingdom Trails with the mountain bikes. You get a $10,000 mountain bike, maybe you want to schedule that too. Give it some broader perils of coverage. Make sure you're ensuring a proper value for that bike. You can also schedule silverware, fine art. I've got somebody who schedules collectibles of all kinds, and it's really something that you can have a dialogue with and check in. The biggest thing is that you want to make sure you have the ability to replace something, and the easiest example is your engagement ring. You've got a 1 carat, the C's on it are perfect. It's a highly valuable, and you lose it. How is that going to be covered if it's not specifically scheduled as a piece of jewelry?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned collectibles. I was thinking the other day, I don't know if you remember when McDonald's used to give away glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I had one.
I'm old enough to have received those glasses.
Well, I had a complete 4 set.
Ooh.
Okay, and in that was my favorite ball player of all time, Nolan Ryan.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that got broken. But, I mean, you mentioned collectibles. I mean, you think about some of the things out there. People collect coins.
Yeah.
People collect cutlery. People collect sports cards.
Yeah.
Pokemon cards.
Yes.
And they're all going to have a value to somebody.
They are. And you've put a lot of time, energy, and money into collecting these items. And are they going to be properly covered if a loss occurs? There's a couple of ways to do it. You can schedule it on your homeowner policy, but there's even companies out there who solely exist for the purpose of having a policy to allow you to cover these things. So which one makes sense for you is the one to look at. And that's not all that expensive. $5, $10 a year for me to schedule this ring that I've talked about in the past that's on my hand. If I lose that diamond, it's covered, no deductible. It gives me an extra peace of mind of thinking about that. So we see that a lot where people don't think about the valuable items, the jewelry handed down from generation to generation, the beautiful necklaces and the diamond earrings and all these things. And the biggest thing you don't want to find out is that if you don't have them specifically listed and somebody comes and steals everything, that the most you're going to get for all of your jewelry is $1,500 with a sublimit on your policy. I mean, it's a slippery slope. So how can you make your policy work for you? That certainly is a good way to do that.
Well, you mentioned a wedding ring, and most of those, a wedding set is going to be well over $1,000. And even if you're talking $10, $15, $20 a year coverage, it's well worth it.
It's well worth it. Yeah. I've seen rings that are 30, 40, 50, 60,000 plus. And thankfully, they're scheduled. So it's good to have that. I'm sure the insurance company really wants you to take good care of that and not lose it. But it's good to know that you have some protection on it.
Well, and with good communication, that insurance company's going to take good care of you.
Absolutely.
Tell them how to contact you, Mike.
Very simple. Give us a call, 748-5224. You can find us on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com, Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
And, of course, tune in Tuesday mornings at 8:35. Mike, welcome to spring.
Yeah, I got my shovel ready for this weekend to celebrate.
Music from BTS up next on Magic.